You know what happens far too often. We let the world hand us a definition of who we are, and then we live inside that box. People tell you what you should look like, how you should act, what's acceptable, and before you know it, you've shrunk yourself down to fit into something that doesn't even belong to you. That's not who you are. You don't need to wait for someone to clap for you before you believe in your value. You don't need a compliment to confirm your beauty. And you definitely don't need anyone's permission to walk like you were born to shine. Because here's the truth, you are worth it with or without their validation. Think about this for a second. When a queen walks into a room, she doesn't ask, "Do I deserve to be here?" No, she already knows she does. She owns her presence. She knows that her worth doesn't increase or decrease depending on who notices her. And that's where too many people get it wrong. They spend so much energy chasing approval, chasing attention, hoping someone else will finally see them. But when you know your worth, you don't have to chase anything. You attract it. People sense that energy. They see it in the way you carry yourself, in the way you speak, in the way you set your boundaries. And I know it's easier said than done, right? We all have those moments where we question ourselves, where self-doubt creeps in, where the voices of critics get a little too loud. But let me tell you something, those voices don't define you. They don't know the battles you've fought, the nights you stayed strong when nobody saw you, the resilience you've built through pain. They don't see the full story, so why on earth would you hand them the pen to write your ending? When you give other people the power to define your worth, you'll always come up short, because their opinion is built on their perspective, not your truth. Your worth is not negotiable. It's not something you earn. It's something you already have. And once you accept that, everything changes. You stop begging for scraps of attention because you know you deserve the whole table. You stop saying yes to things that drain you because you know your energy is valuable. You stop chasing people who keep showing you they don't care because you realize you were never supposed to beg for what's freely given to someone else. A queen doesn't bow to be chosen. She chooses herself first, and in doing so, she sets the standard for everyone else. Here's the shift I want you to make. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for that moment when someone finally recognizes your potential. Stop waiting for that partner to finally see your worth. Stop waiting for that job, that friend, that opportunity to validate you. Start acting like you already have it because you do. The second you decide that you are enough, the second you believe that you are worthy, everything else lines up. Your energy changes, your confidence grows, and people can't help but notice. That's what knowing your worth does. It changes the atmosphere before you even speak. So don't let them define it. Don't shrink yourself because they can't handle your light. Don't water yourself down so you're easier to swallow. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to be respected. Your worth is not a question, it's the answer. And it's time you start living like you already know it. One of the most powerful things you will ever learn is how to protect your energy. Not your money, not your possessions, your energy, because once that's drained, everything else starts to fall apart. Too many women give pieces of themselves away to people who have no business holding them. They pour and pour until there's nothing left, and then wonder why they feel empty inside. But a queen doesn't let just anyone sit at her table. She knows her energy is priceless, and she guards it the way royalty guards a crown. Here's the truth, not everyone deserves access to you, and that might sound harsh, but it's reality. Some people only show up to take, to drain, to use. They bring drama, negativity, chaos, and they leave you carrying weight that was never yours to hold. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life trying to fix people who have no intention of changing, while you're the one who ends up broken. Protecting your energy means learning how to say no without guilt, and yes only when it aligns with your peace. Boundaries are not about being rude, they're about being wise. They are not walls to keep everyone out, they're filters to let the right people in. Think of your life like a garden. If you leave it wide open, Weeds will choke the flowers and take over the beauty you worked so hard to grow. But if you set boundaries, if you build a fence, you protect what's valuable. That's your energy. It's the soil for your growth, and you can't afford to let anything toxic poison it. And I get it, saying no feels uncomfortable. Especially when you're used to being the one everyone relies on, the one who fixes everything, the one who never wants to disappoint. But let me ask you this. How many times have you disappointed yourself to keep everyone else happy? How many times have you sacrificed your peace just so someone else wouldn't be upset? That's not strength. That's self-abandonment. Protecting your energy doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means you stop letting love become a weapon against yourself. When you protect your energy, something powerful happens. You start to notice who really values you and who just values what they can get from you. People who respect your boundaries will stay. People who only wanted to take will leave. And that's okay, because not everyone deserves to stay in your life. You'll be amazed how light you feel when you finally stop carrying other people's baggage. And let's be honest, life already throws enough challenges at you. Why carry extra weight? A queen doesn't walk around dragging dead weight. She moves with grace, with intention, with focus. And that's what protecting your energy does. It gives you the space to focus on what really matters. You'll have more clarity, more peace, more strength to pursue your purpose. You'll stop reacting to every little thing, because not every battle is yours to fight. Sometimes the best move isn't to swing back, it's to step back. Your energy is sacred, your time is sacred, your peace is sacred, and when you start treating it that way, the world takes notice. The people who are meant for you will honor it, and the people who aren't will fall away. That's not loss, that's alignment. So protect it fiercely, because you can't be the queen you're meant to be if you keep handing your crown to everyone who asks for it. One of the biggest shifts you'll ever make in your life is learning how to carry yourself with grace instead of apologies. Too often, we shrink down, we apologize for existing, we say sorry for things that don't even require forgiveness. You bump into a chair and you say sorry. You speak up in a meeting and immediately backtrack. You share how you feel and then apologize for being too much. Let me tell you something. You are not too much. You are not wrong for taking up space. You are not wrong for having a voice. Stop apologizing for being exactly who you were created to be. Grace isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up fully and standing tall even when life tries to knock you down. Carrying yourself with grace means you don't let every storm pull you into chaos. You don't let every critic dictate your mood. You don't waste your energy proving yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you move with calm, steady confidence, because strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes the strongest woman in the room is the one who doesn't have to raise her voice to be heard. And yes, that means you'll have to unlearn some habits. Many of us were taught to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, to be agreeable at all costs. We were taught that being liked was more important than being respected. But you know what happens when you live that way? You lose yourself. You start walking on eggshells, holding your tongue, making yourself small just so others feel comfortable. That's not grace, that's fear in disguise. Grace is different. Grace says, I can disagree with you without disrespecting myself. Grace says, I don't have to argue to prove my point. My presence already speaks. Carrying yourself with grace doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It doesn't mean you stay silent when you should speak. It means you choose when and how you respond. You don't hand over your peace just because someone wants to push your buttons. You don't trade your dignity for the satisfaction of being right in an argument. You know who you are, and you know what you stand for, and that's enough. And here's the thing. When you walk in grace, people notice. They might not even be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. They'll feel the steadiness in your spirit, the confidence in your posture, the calm in your voice. That's the power of carrying yourself with grace. It commands respect without ever demanding it. It shows strength without ever shouting it. and it creates a space where others can't help but rise to meet your level. So the next time you catch yourself apologizing for who you are, stop. Replace that apology with confidence. Replace that insecurity with presence. You don't need to keep shrinking to make others comfortable. You don't need to water yourself down so you're easier to accept. You don't need to justify or explain why you are the way you are. You don't owe anyone an apology for being a queen, so walk with grace. Not apologies, walk like you belong because you do. Respect is not something you beg for. It's something you command through the way you carry yourself and the way you live your life. Too often, people get stuck thinking respect comes from demanding it with words, from forcing others to acknowledge them, but that's not how it works. Respect isn't given because you shout the loudest. It's given because you show, through consistent action, that you value yourself. When you treat yourself with dignity, with care, with confidence, the world has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Think about it. If you constantly put yourself down, if you accept less than you deserve, if you let people cross your boundaries without consequence, what message are you sending? You're telling the world, this is how I allow myself to be treated. And people will follow that lead every single time. But when you stand firm, when you show up for yourself, when you make it clear that your time, your energy, and your heart are not to be taken for granted, people rise to the standard you set. Respect is taught, not requested. This doesn't mean you walk around with arrogance, trying to intimidate people into respecting you. That's not real respect. That's fear, and fear always fades. Respect is different. It's steady, it's earned, it's rooted in authenticity. You earn it not by trying to please everyone, but by being unwavering in your values. You show people who you are not by talking about it, but by living it out every single day. And here's the truth. When you start demanding respect through your actions, not everyone is going to like it. Some people are used to you bending, used to you being the one who always gives in, used to you putting yourself last. When you decide that those days are over, when you start walking differently, speaking differently, carrying yourself like the queen you are, it will make some people uncomfortable. But that discomfort isn't your problem. It's theirs. Because what you're really doing is teaching them how to treat you, and some people don't want to learn that lesson. That's okay. The right people will adjust. The right people will meet your standards. The right people will see the strength in your posture, the calm in your voice, the clarity in your boundaries, and they will honor it. You won't have to beg. You won't have to explain. You won't have to prove. They'll know, because when you respect yourself, you show others exactly what respect looks like. It starts in the small things, how you speak to yourself when no one is watching, how you respond when someone tries to push past your limits, how you hold yourself when you walk into a room. Do you shrink, hoping not to be noticed, or do you stand tall, knowing you belong? Do you settle for treatment that makes you feel small, or do you draw the line and walk away when it's crossed? Every choice, every action, every moment is teaching people how to treat you. And when you decide you will only accept respect, that's exactly what you start to receive. So stop chasing it, stop begging for it, stop waiting for someone to finally see your value. Respect begins with you. And when you act like a queen, the world has no choice but to treat you like one. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never asked for. The disappointments, the betrayals, the heartbreaks, the losses, they all leave marks. And it's easy to look at those marks as weaknesses, as reasons why we'll never measure up, as proof that we're damaged. But those scars are not shameful. They're powerful. They are the evidence that you've survived what was designed to break you. They're not reminders of defeat. They're reminders of resilience. And that's what makes a queen. Someone who knows how to take the pain life handed her and turn it into power. See, pain is inevitable. None of us get through life untouched. But what separates the strong from the broken is not the absence of pain. It's the decision of what to do with it. You can either let it harden you into bitterness, or you can let it refine you into strength. You can either let it define you, or you can let it drive you, and that choice is yours. No one else can make it for you. Think about every time you thought you wouldn't get through something, that heartbreak you thought would crush you, that rejection you thought meant you weren't enough, that season of loneliness that felt unbearable, and yet, here you are, you made it, maybe not untouched, maybe not unchanged, but you're still standing. That's power. That's evidence that you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. Too often, we downplay our own survival stories, forgetting that the very things we thought would destroy us ended up shaping us into something unshakable. Turning pain into power doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It doesn't mean ignoring it or brushing it under the rug or forcing yourself to just move on. It means acknowledging it, facing it head on, and choosing to use it as fuel instead of a chain. It means saying, yes, that broke me for a while. Yes, it cut deep, but I refuse to let it keep me down. That's how pain transforms. That's how power is born. And the beautiful thing is, your pain doesn't just make you stronger. It makes you wiser. It teaches you lessons you couldn't have learned any other way. It shows you who's real and who's not. It forces you to discover parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. It sharpens your vision, it deepens your compassion, and it builds your courage. Pain has a way of preparing you for the very places you're called to go. And maybe right now you're in the middle of something heavy. Maybe you're walking through a season that doesn't make sense. Maybe you feel like the weight is too much to carry. But I want you to hear this. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And if you choose to water that pain with persistence, if you choose to protect it with faith, if you choose to rise instead of fold, you will bloom into something far greater than you ever imagined. That's the power of a queen. She doesn't deny her pain, she redefines it. She doesn't let her scars silence her, she lets them speak. She doesn't just survive what was meant to destroy her. She builds from it, she grows from it, she reigns because of it. So the next time life tries to break you, remember this: your pain is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your power. Love is one of the most powerful forces you carry, but too many women confuse loving deeply with losing themselves. And that's where things start to go wrong. Loving others doesn't mean forgetting your own needs. Giving to others doesn't mean abandoning yourself. A queen leads with love, yes, but she knows how to balance it. She knows how to give without emptying her soul. She knows how to care without being consumed. Because real love doesn't demand that you disappear, it allows you to stand tall while lifting others up at the same time. So many times, women are told that strength looks like sacrifice, that to be a good partner, a good mother, a good friend, you have to put yourself last. But what good is it if you're giving so much that you have nothing left to give? You can't pour from an empty cup, and yet, how many times have you done exactly that, given until you were exhausted, stayed longer than you should have, loved harder than someone deserved, thinking that's what strength looks like? That's not strength, that's surrendering your crown. Leading with love means you show kindness without weakness, compassion without being taken advantage of, generosity without self-betrayal. It means you give people the best of you, not what's left of you after you've been drained. And when you love yourself enough to set those boundaries, you actually make your love for others stronger, not weaker, because you're no longer giving out of obligation or depletion. You're giving out of abundance. Think about it. The people who are truly meant to be in your life won't ask you to lose yourself just to keep them comfortable. They won't expect you to sacrifice your worth, your peace, or your happiness just to earn their love. The ones who truly love you will respect your limits. They'll honor your needs, and they'll celebrate your growth. And the ones who don't, that's your sign they were never aligned with your crown in the first place. And here's where the real shift happens. When you lead with love while staying true to yourself, You become magnetic. Your energy changes. You stop attracting people who only want to take, and you start attracting people who want to build with you, who want to grow with you, who want to match your love with their own. You stop clinging to relationships that drain you because you know the difference between love and dependency. Love builds, dependency breaks. Never confuse being soft with being weak. It takes incredible strength to keep your heart open in a world that's tried to harden it. It takes courage to love when you've been hurt, to trust when you've been betrayed, to give when you've been taken for granted. But that's the beauty of a queen. She doesn't let the world steal her ability to love. She leads with it. She doesn't lose herself in the process. She roots herself deeper. So don't be afraid to love, but don't forget to love yourself in the process. Don't be afraid to give, but don't forget to give to yourself first. Don't be afraid to lead with your heart, but don't hand it to people who haven't earned it. Because a queen's love is powerful, and when she learns to lead with it without losing herself, she becomes unstoppable.